There's a peculiar exhaustion, isn't there? A weariness that has nothing to do with a lack of sleep or physical labor. It's a deep, soul-level fatigue that settles in your bones. It's the exhaustion of performance, the silent, ceaseless effort of holding a mask in place, of curating your words, your laughter, your very posture to fit a role you never auditioned for. You feel it most acutely in a crowded room, a place where you are supposed to feel connected. You smile, you nod, you play your part in the intricate social ballet, but inside there's a quiet hum of dissonance, a feeling that you are a visitor here, speaking a language you learned from a book, while everyone else seems to be a native speaker. You feel as though you are playing a grand and complicated game, but you have lost the rule book, and everyone else is playing with a confidence that feels both effortless and utterly baffling. And with this feeling comes a quiet, gnawing shame. A voice that whispers, "What is wrong with you? Why can't you just relax and enjoy it? Why must you see the strings on the puppets? Why can't you just dance?" But what if I were to tell you that this feeling, this profound sense of alienation, is not a symptom of your brokenness? What if this exhaustion is not a sign that you are failing the game, but the very first unmistakable sign that you are beginning to wake up from it? What if this ache is not a weakness, but the growing pain of a consciousness that is becoming too large, too honest, to fit inside the tiny, decorated box that the world has built for you? You see, the problem isn't that you can't play the game. The problem, the beautiful, terrifying, liberating problem, is that you are starting to see it for what it is. And once you see the game, you can never truly, wholeheartedly play it again. To understand this, you have to understand the nature of the game itself. Society, as we know it, is a form of collective hypnosis. It is a grand and elaborate play, a piece of theater with billions of actors, each of whom has tacitly agreed to pretend that the stage is the entire world, that their costumes are their skin, and that their lines are their own spontaneous thoughts. We are born into this play mid-scene. We are handed a script on our first day, a script written by generations of actors who came before us. This script has many chapters. It tells you who you are supposed to be, what you are supposed to want, and, most importantly, who you are supposed to be for other people. It's a script of accumulation and approval. Accumulate wealth, accumulate status, accumulate friends, accumulate experiences that look good on a digital feed. And in every scene, the stage direction is the same. Seek approval. Let the applause of the audience be your guide. Their laughter is your success. Their silence is your failure. Their booing is your annihilation. This system, this game, functions on a very simple, unspoken agreement. We will all validate each other's masks if you will validate mine. I will pretend your job title makes you important if you pretend my expensive car makes me happy. I will applaud your performance of the perfect parent if you applaud my performance of the successful professional. It's a vast, interlocking web of mutual pretense. And for a very long time, it can work. It can provide a sense of safety, of belonging, of knowing one's place. But it is the safety of a cage with velvet bars. It is the belonging of a herd, not the connection of a soul. And the deep, abiding truth of your organism, the living, breathing, unpredictable reality of who you are beneath the costume, knows this. It knows it is being suffocated. And so, your pain, your frustration, your sense of loneliness amidst the crowd, it is nothing more and nothing less than the protest of your authentic self. It is your soul's allergic reaction to a diet of synthetic approval. Your exhaustion is not from your own failures, but from the monumental, back-breaking, 24-hour-a-day effort of pretending that the play is real. You are tired because you are carrying the weight of 1,000 different versions of yourself. One for your parents, one for your boss, one for your friends, one for the stranger at the grocery store. Each version is a carefully crafted shield, designed to earn a specific kind of approval and deflect a specific kind of judgment. And the psychic energy required to maintain this armory is draining you of the very life you are trying to live. You are not broken. You are a healthy organism reacting to an insane environment. You are the sane person in the asylum, and your unease is simply the proof of your sanity. This is where the great shift begins. This is the point where the curtain is pulled back, not with a dramatic flourish, but with a slow, quiet, almost imperceptible tear. It starts with the realization that you are ceasing to care. And this is a terrifying thought at first, because the script you were handed tells you that not caring is the ultimate sin. The script says that to not care what others think is to be selfish, arrogant, a sociopath. But this is the game's most clever trick. It defines the very act of liberation as an act of moral failure, to keep you locked in the play. What is truly happening when you stop caring is not a descent into coldness. It is an ascent into a different kind of love, a different kind of seeing. It is the dismantling of the great external validation machine that has been running your life. Let's look at what this really means, piece by piece, because it is the most profound unburdening a human being can experience. First, you begin to understand the illusion of the audience. You have spent your life on a brightly lit stage, performing for a vast, shadowy audience you imagine is watching your every move, judging every line, every gesture. You choose your clothes for this audience. You bite your tongue for this audience. You contort your dreams to please this audience. But when you stop, when you get very still and dare to look out into the darkness, you realize something astonishing. There is almost no one there. The truth is, everyone else is on their own stage, under their own spotlight, performing frantically for their own imaginary audience. They are far too busy worrying about their own performance to be a dedicated critic of yours. The judgment you feared so much was never a legion of critics. It was a hall of mirrors, reflecting your own self-judgment back at you 1,000 times over. The immense pressure you felt was 99% self-inflicted, a ghost you created and then spent your life trying to appease. And as this realization dawns, the spotlight above you doesn't just dim, it dissolves, and you find yourself for the first time not on a stage, but simply in a room. And in a room, you don't have to perform. You can just be. This leads to the second great revelation, the nature of criticism and praise. As long as you play the game, you are a slave to both. Praise is a drug, a temporary hit of validation that makes you feel worthy. Criticism is a poison, a confirmation of your deepest fears that you are not enough. You live on a pendulum, swinging wildly between the elation of one and the despair of the other. But when you stop caring, you step off the pendulum entirely. It's not that the words cease to exist, it's that they cease to define you. You begin to see praise and criticism for what they are, simply data. They are information about the person speaking, about their preferences, their worldview, their current mood. A person's compliment about your work is a reflection of what they value. A person's insult about your life choices is a window into their own fears and limitations. The words are about them. They were always about them. You were just using them as a mirror to see your own reflection. Now you can listen, you can learn if there's something of value, but you no longer absorb it into the core of your identity. You stop being a weather vane, spun around by every passing breeze of opinion, and you start becoming a mountain. The winds of praise may feel pleasant, and the storms of criticism may be loud, but the mountain remains. It is unmoved because it knows what it is. With this newfound stability, a third, deeper magic begins to work on you. Your energy, once squandered on performance and defense, returns to you. It is an immense reservoir of power that you never knew you had. Think of the sheer volume of mental and emotional resources you previously dedicated to questions like, what will they think? Did I say the right thing? Do they like me? It's like you've been running a dozen complex, resource-heavy programs in the background of your mind all day, every day, for decades. The moment you stop caring, those programs shut down. And the silence, the sheer processing power that is freed up, is staggering. This is not the silence of emptiness, it is the silence of potential. In this silence, you begin to hear your own voice for the first time. Not the practiced, polite voice of the persona, but the quiet, intuitive whisper of your own being. You start to discover what you actually like, what you actually believe, what you actually want, independent of what you were taught you should want. You might discover you hate the career you built your identity around. You might discover you find joy in the simplest things you were told were a waste of time. You are no longer navigating the world with a borrowed map. You are becoming the map maker. This process of self-discovery is a form of exquisite subtraction. You are not adding a new authentic self on top of the old one. You are chipping away at all the false selves you have accumulated. It's like being a sculptor who has been given a magnificent block of marble, but has spent years gluing bits of clay and paper and string to make it look like what everyone else said a statue should look like. Stopping to care is the act of gently, patiently removing all the glued-on junk. It can be a messy process. Pieces of your identity that you thought were solid will crumble away. But as you clear away the debris, the true form, the inherent, unchangeable shape of the marble that was there all along begins to emerge. And seeing it, for the very first time, is a homecoming. It is the moment you meet yourself and realize you were there all along, waiting patiently beneath the noise. Of course, this journey is not without its own peculiar form of loneliness. This is a truth we must not ignore. When you stop playing a game, the other players will not always understand. Your refusal to play by the unspoken rules can feel like a judgment of their own choice to keep playing. When you stop gossiping, the gossips may fall silent around you. When you stop chasing status, the status seekers may see you as a failure. When you stop performing cheerfulness, the people who rely on your performance to avoid their own sadness may call you negative. You become a mirror for them, and they may not like the reflection. There will be people who drift away. Relationships that were based entirely on the mutual validation of masks will dissolve, because the foundation has been removed. And there is a grief in this. But this is not the sharp, desperate loneliness of inadequacy you felt before. This is a different quality of solitude. It is the clean, dignified solitude of sovereignty. It is the quiet space of integrity. It is the difference between being locked alone in a small, dark room and standing alone on a vast, open mountaintop. One is a prison, the other is a vista. In this new space, this open solitude, something remarkable happens. You become a beacon for other people who are also waking up. The connections you do form are no longer transactional, based on what you can do for each other's egos. They are resonant. They are based on a shared recognition of reality, a shared appreciation for the truth. You will find that one conversation with a person who sees the world as you do is more nourishing than 1,000 shallow interactions with those still deep in the play. Your tribe will find you, not because you went looking for them, but because you finally stood still and began to emanate your own true signal. And then comes the final, most beautiful consequence of this internal revolution. You begin to interact with the world with a kind of playful grace. When you no longer need anything from other people, you are free to truly love them. You can appreciate their performances in the great play without being threatened by them. You can see the fear and insecurity driving their actions, and instead of reacting to their mask, you can feel compassion for the person hiding behind it. You become a better friend, a better partner, a better parent, because your actions are no longer tainted by the desperate need for a specific response. You give a gift because the act of giving is a joy, not to receive thanks. You speak your truth because it needs to be spoken, not to win an argument. You love because your heart is overflowing, not because you are trying to fill a void. You stop seeing life as a ladder to be climbed, and you start seeing it as a piece of music to be enjoyed. There are high notes and low notes, fast passages and slow ones. Before, you were always trying to get to the grand finale, believing that was the point of it all. But now you understand. The point of the music is not the final note. The point of the music is the music. The point of a dance is not to arrive at a particular spot on the floor. The point of the dance is to dance. And so you begin to dance with life. You are no longer fighting the current of the river, trying to force it to go where you think it should. You realize you are the river. Your only job is to flow. So the next time you feel that old familiar pang of anxiety in a social situation, that sudden cold fear of being judged, I want you to try something. Do not fight it. Do not push it away. And do not, under any circumstances, believe it. Instead, just observe it. See it for what it is, an echo, a ghost in the machine, a well-worn groove in the record of your mind, a song you no longer have to listen to. Acknowledge it with a quiet, knowing smile, the way you would acknowledge an old acquaintance whose name you've forgotten. And then gently bring your attention back to the present moment, to the feeling of the breath in your lungs, to the colors in the room, to the simple, undeniable, miraculous fact that you are here, alive, awake. The game will continue all around you, with all its noise and drama and frantic energy, but you will be in it and not of it. And in that space, you will find not a void, but a peace that passes all understanding. You will find the freedom that was your birthright all along. You will find that when you stop caring about what the world thinks of you, you finally give the world the only thing of any real value you ever had to offer, your true self.